Has nationalism been militarized?
To some degree, what they've tried to do is they've exalted the army. If you're a recipient of BJP and right-wing WhatsApp messages, as I am, I think you can see the way in which the army is exalted. I exalt the army, but I exalt different things about the army. Of course, I exalt their bravery, their self-sacrifice, and their courage, but I don't fetishize the army. I don't believe my army right or wrong. And what is more, I celebrate things like the diversity within the army. I celebrate the fact that we have every religion represented in the army. I celebrate the fact that we have religious preachers or chaplains from every faith attached to our military forces. There's lots and lots of wonderful stories about the army that affirm my idea of Indian nationalism. I don't want to see this totally secular institution being tarnished with this kind of Hindutva brush of the army becoming an instrument of a warrior state. I mean, that's really not, to my mind, what the army was all about or is meant to be. I mean, I have relatives who've been in the army, and I have a brother-in-law still serving in a very senior position. I have a lot of respect for and strong support to the army. I've seen the Indian army at close quarters as a UN peacekeeping official, and which are my respect for the Indian army as second to none in the world who was born. So I can tell you that there's a lot to be said for the army, but not the way the BJP does, including, of course, not just fetishizing the army, but trying to make them above and beyond criticism, putting them on their election posters after every military action, advertising in a chest-thumping way every quote-unquote surgical strike. That wasn't the way the army was meant to be used by Indian democracy.
Shashi, 3 more points, and I'm running short on time. You partly answered this before I interrupted you, but I think it's important to revisit. Have Hindu nationalists arrogated Gandhi's legacy for themselves?
Yes, I mean, I partially answered this because what Mahatma Gandhi stood for, and which the Hindutva movement despised as an epitome of weakness, of non-violence, and so on, and indeed of too much fondness for minorities, Muslims in particular, that idea actually is something which they're putting aside by adopting Mahatma Gandhi's glasses for the Swachh Bharat campaign, paying ritual obeisance to him on his 150th birthday. All of these things that the government tries to do or adhering to the substance of his message and his philosophy.
Okay. Has social media made bigotry respectable?
Social media has made bigotry respectable, partially because it has made it permissible to say things in a public space that in the past people would have thought twice about even saying privately. That's probably true worldwide, but in India it's become starkly apparent because I grew up in India where some of the things I'm hearing now on social media and on political platforms are things that no respectable middle-class home would ever have permitted to be uttered in their living rooms, behind closed doors. But now it's all possible to say. And what is more, people draw aid and comfort from knowing that their secret prejudices are actually acceptable because others are expressing them openly on social media, so they too join the bandwagon. It's pretty grim stuff.
Final question, Shashi Tharoor. What should a new India be?
Well, I think it ought to be an India in which every Indian has the same rights, the right to love, to live, to eat what they want, to dress as they like, to worship as they choose or not, to be able to speak the language they like, associate with the people they like, pursue the beliefs they like, as long as they're not harming other Indians. It seems to me that what is essential in the new India is what Amartya Sen talked about as a fulfillment of capabilities. We need to maintain, enshrine, and deepen and strengthen the civic institutions of our nationalism in order to ensure that our people are able to develop themselves and to be who they wish to be. That's the kind of new India that democracy should make possible, rather than an India where we're being press-ganged into a uniformity, one nation, one language, one religion, one state, one leader. That kind of India is not the India that I believe I can cherish. And I believe the alternative India is one that I must, and many like me, must continue to fight for.